And the best new artist is me.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Taylor Shanae, and today I'm bringing you guys a brand new series. I know, long time no see, but I'm back. I'm bringing you a series that we are going to call Decades of Fashion, or Fashion of the Decades. I haven't really decided just yet, but we are going to be going through each decade. I want to see what trend or style has transcended through all decades, the ones that have gone and left and came back. I just want to know it all. If you guys know, I am definitely a fashion girly. I love all of the luxury designers, even the ones I can't afford, homegirl. Even the ones I can't afford. But we love them. I love to see the new collections, things that the designers come up with. I just love it. Even when the girlies my size aren't represented. So we're going to talk a little bit, and we're going to touch a little bit on that as well throughout this series. But we are going to start with the 50s, you guys. We're going to go from the 50s all the way up until now. And I just I thought this would be fun. I thought that we could have some fun with seeing how fashion has evolved over time, and you know how many decades it's been without plus size women being represented. We know it's been a long time, but let's go through and let's just see, you know, what trends were transpiring, being invented, and all of those things. So first up, let's start with the nifty 50s. Okay, one of my favorite decades of all time. Of course, there are no representation of plus size women, even though we know they existed. But let's get into the fashion deets. Okay, so first up, I want to go through the popular luxury brands during the 50s. There were many, but let's go through the popular ones that we know even are still popular and trendy to this day. 5 popular luxury brands in the 50s was Dior, of course, Chanel, Trailblazing, Balmain, as well as Cristobal Balenciaga. And we know they're still here. This is why they are, you know, head of luxury fashion. So with that being said, I just want to say that these brands may not be attainable and affordable, but for us fashion girlies, you have been watching and searching. Some of us have been saving for our favorite luxury brands. I have a few luxury pieces, not many, but every once in a while I do treat myself, and I do plan on, I have a wish list with all of these brands included. So whenever I'm able to hit that mark where it's affordable and attainable for me, and I'm not afraid of thrifting. So if you are one of the fashion girlies who don't mind thrifting, make sure y'all check out all those different brands like Fashion File, Farfetch. They definitely have things resale that you might be able to attain. So those were the popular and trending luxury brands throughout the 50s. I want to talk about fashion facts, y'all. Let me give y'all a few gems. I don't know if y'all knew, you know, some of y'all may, some of y'all may not. But you guys, did you know that the bikini was invented, brought to life in the 50s? Like before the 50s, there were no bikinis. Women were like swimming in dresses and pants and all different kind of things. Okay, another fashion fact of the 50s is that the 4-inch stiletto was created. Y'all, as much as stilettos are like around, and it seems like they've been around forever, just to think about the fact that they've only been here since the 50s, that's quite like, that's amazing to me. Like, they still young. Quite honestly, they're still young. Also, we had Christian Dior, who also brung about and founded that cinched waist, giving us those hourglass silhouettes when it came to our clothing. It's not that it didn't exist before the 50s, it definitely became popular in the 50s though. So that's a few little fashion facts from the 50s that I thought you guys might like to know. Now, let's jump right in. I wanted to go through and go over some of the styles and trends of the 50s that were my favorite. So let's get right into our 50s favorites. When I say I'm a super duper girly girl, like I'm a girly girl. So when they merged the burlesque pinup girls with old Hollywood fashion and brung that to life, start, being that and representing that on those red carpets and in Hollywood, I was all for it. I honestly would like to think that in the 50s, that's when women were a little bit more liberated and able to show a little bit more skin, because like we talked about before, the bikini was founded and created in the 50s, and women just were allowed to start showing a little skin, being a little bit more sexy. And you don't have to show skin to be sexy, don't get me wrong, but I definitely think the 50s was one of those pivotal points where women were definitely able to just kind of, show a little, shoulder. Because it wasn't much, a little midriff, nothing too crazy, but they were definitely able to show a lot more skin than they've ever shown in the past. So another one of the 50s favorites that I like, it's not a particular trend or fad, it's just a simple fact that in the 40s, if you go back to the 40s, and I'll pop up some visuals for you guys, they were very polished, very classic looking. The guys all wore suits, and that was the classic look. Going into the 50s is when we started to transition and we started to merge in prints and patterns and different textures, and that's what I love about the 50s, is that it was still classic, it was still very, very casual and elegant, but they were able to start doing the fun stuff, bringing in those pinstripe suits, polka dots, things like that, and definitely wearing more color. So I definitely like that. As this go on, I'm going to be popping in some really fun pictures for you guys to see, just so you can see what was trendy, what was hot, what was the tease of the 50s, okay? So let's get into some of our 50s dislikes, y'all. I don't have many because, like I said, the 50s is one of my favorite eras when it comes to fashion. I think it's that sweet spot of not getting too sexy, not being too raunchy, but showing just enough and still being classic. I love a really sophisticated look, and it was still so classy and so sophisticated. But let me tell y'all one of the things I did not like, okay? Don't all jump on me at once. I know some of those baby boomers, some of those ones that, they gonna come try to, put me in a little chokehold about their era, but I do not like the poodle skirts. Like the whole phase, like we also had that era of like that Grease era, that, those poodles, the leather jackets, the white socks. And while all of that is fine and dandy and cute, that poodle skirt, they was wrong for that. They were wrong. I just, it's something I don't like about the little dogs on the skirts. And I know y'all gonna be in an uproar about your canines, but I didn't like that. That was, like I said, I didn't have a lot of dislikes for this era. And as we go on to other eras, I may. But for the 50s, that was one of the things that really stood out to me. That was just like, that wasn't my zhuzh. That wasn't my, I don't see that and be like, oh yeah, I probably would still try to pull that off today. And a lot of the things from the 50s, we are still pulling off today. So let's jump right in and segue into our next segment, vintage fashion of today. You guys, let me tell y'all some of the staples that has transcended over time, and they haven't gone anywhere. Like I said in the beginning of this video, the hourglass silhouette became popular in the 50s. What are we still wearing today? Hourglass dresses. We want everything to be hourglass, even when we don't even have an hourglass figure, honey. And I'm not saying that you got to, because that's your prerogative. I'm gonna wear my hourglass dress or outfits too. But like, nobody has shied away. Although we have different silhouettes that people gravitate towards, the hourglass is absolutely like going nowhere. And I think of today's time, that's the one silhouette everybody wants. That's why we're in the era of the BBL, because everybody wants a hourglass silhouette and everybody wears clothes that are flattering to hourglass silhouettes. Now, the one thing I think is wrong about that is that because that silhouette is promoted so much, it doesn't leave a lot of room and space for other people to, you know, just identify and resonate with other silhouettes. Like, there are so many other silhouettes that I think are so beautiful on a woman's body and even on men's bodies. Everybody's body, child. Don't be trying to drag me, okay? But I think that there are so many other silhouettes, but they are not highlighted as often. And, you know, that's neither here nor there. But that's one of those gems that has gone through decade and decade. So don't sleep on the hourglass silhouette. The peplum shirt / dress. Now, although it's not super popular today, when they brung this back, I want to say 2000s, the 2010s, but they brung the peplum shirt, peplum dress back out, and it's definitely been a staple. I would think that it's a huge staple in the plus size community because it cinches that waist, but it also allows you to camouflage, you know, if you are an apple shape, you know, pear shape, different things. It allows you to cinch that waist in, and we can thank Mr. Christian Dior for that, you guys. I talked about it before. Christian Dior made that cinched snatch waist and rounded hips. He brought that to the forefront and said, here, this is what y'all have been needing, and I'm gonna deliver it to you on a platter. Okay, so definitely those peplum shirts, dresses, suit jackets, that has transcended over time. Thirdly, we have the stiletto. The 4-inch stiletto was founded and brought about in the 50s, and we haven't let it go, and we shouldn't let it go, because who does not love a sexy stiletto, y'all? I just love seeing women in stilettos, and they can walk good, honey, because ain't nothing worse than seeing somebody in some stilettos and they wobbling and shaking. Okay, been there, done that, and have seen it a million times. It's not comfortable and it doesn't look cute either, but the stiletto is definitely here to stay. And shout out to my girlies who be rocking those stilettos with no problem and just be looking sexy. Love that for you, sis. Love it for you. Okay, y'all, so let's talk men's fashion in the 50s. Now, I'm not quite versed on this, and I'm trying to immerse myself in the fashion culture a little bit more, just because I love it. I'm super passionate about it. But I wanted to like briefly go over this. Men's fashion was interesting in the 50s. You had the polished man that was still in a suit and tie, which, like I said before, they incorporated a lot more textures, and we're mixing and matching different textures of clothes. So they might have wore a wool slack and, you know, a regular blazer or a pinstripe blazer, and, you know, like a different color bottom, which I absolutely love. I love a man in a suit. So that was very much so still prevalent. But then you also had the grease era for men's fashion, and I think that this is something that transcends time to today. Not for men that much, I don't know, it depends. It definitely depends on your personal style. But men's fashion in the 50s, if you were a part of that grease era, they were super heavy on that leather, like moto jacket, the white tank underneath with the denim jeans, which I think that's a staple for everybody. Men, women, kids. It's just a staple for everybody. I think it's a classic look. Women were able to pull off that tank and denim with a nice leather jacket or pleather jacket, and it just works for many different occasions. And I think that was brought about, and it was all a part of the evolution of rock and roll. And I think we can thank that for that era. I think men's fashion was really clear cut. Either you were on that side or you were kind of still the classic men in suits. And I think that that may have come from the men that were a part of the working class. I could be wrong. Correct me in the comments if you know a little bit more. But I definitely think this was a great era for men to express themselves and just, you know, show creativity and expression in their style. So let's jump right into plus size fashion in the 50s. Y'all, imagine me looking up plus size women fashion in the 50s like I was gonna find some pictures or some type of visual. Of course, they were probably still wearing, you know, the typical dress and shirts and, you know, like just like regular women, but there is really no representation. I'm gonna pop in a picture of the plus size women I did find, but there was really no representation, and I can only imagine how that felt being a plus size woman in that era, because it was definitely a lot more crucial, a lot more criticism. So I can only imagine what that felt like. So like I said, on each of these videos, you guys, I'm going to try to pull some plus size fashion inspo from the era just so we can have some representation, but know that I'm trying. I'm looking. I'm just not having much luck. They wanted to make it as though, you know, like we didn't exist then, and that's very unfortunate, because I'm sure they could have killed some of these styles as well. I'm sure they were killing, you know, different fashion and different styles in that era as well, because women, plus size women being interested in fashion and looking nice didn't start now, you know. It was definitely probably something, a need and a want back then. It just, you know, there was not many options for them. So this has been our fashion of the decades 1950s edition. I hope you guys like this series. Let me know in the comments what's your favorite decade in fashion, and yeah, we're gonna keep going. I hope that you guys like it. Put in the comments how you feel about the series, and don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and go ahead and turn on the notification bell. Don't be weird. Don't be weird. Talk to y'all soon, and thank you so much for watching. Bye.
You don't like to dress like I do. I like to put it on.
I have noticed actually.
I love to put it on. I like to shine.